Good morning. I'm Alex. This is Reckless Style. Welcome to the podcast. I just woke up, so I look like I just woke up. But this is episode 80 of the podcast, and today we're talking about podcast topics such as okay, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. Oh man, my list is short. Um because I have stuff on here that I just have not gotten around to that I wanted to talk about, which included like finishing The Last of Us, which we still haven't done. I still have not watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which I still need to do. I also do want to watch Evil Dead Rise with Anna because she loves watching horror movies. That's one of like our guilty pleasures together. But like we so rarely have the time to do it. But I do know Evil Dead Rise would be a lot of fun, especially me being a fan of the Evil Dead franchise as a whole. But things I can talk about that I have moderate knowledge and have participated in viewing of such. The NBA playoffs, things are happening, things are going down. If you didn't know, I am a Warriors fan. I'm going to talk about the San Francisco Japantown Cherry Blossom Festival. I'm going to talk about some places we went to while we did the festival that we enjoyed. Um, Being older and drinking. Lilo and Stitch live action. That casting stuff's been hot topics lately. I was gonna talk about how my tattoo is healing and how freaking itchy that son of a bitch is. And apologies, I got sick recently, and now my coughing problems are back. So that really sucks. I had other things I wanted to talk about. I was going to talk about Coachella. I didn't go to Coachella, but you can't not hear about Coachella. And then Coachella's second weekend is this weekend, so there's that. That's kind of everything I have off the top of my dome. My list is pretty not extensive right now. I was going to talk about baseball, but as a Giants fan, baseball is just really depressing for me right now. But anyways, to kick it off, we are blah 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 blah. Oh, we're just gonna go right into the playoffs. Okay. So playoffs. If you didn't know, I wonder if I can pull up playoff seeding, playoff records. In general, the playoffs have been pretty interesting. With most recent matchups, because today is Saturday. As of yesterday, things are going, I think, pretty much as planned. I think the surprising one is that Boston dropped a game. Especially considering how some experts and writers are already writing Boston as the possible championship team to beat. But anyways, otherwise I would say things are kind of going as expected overall. Uh, Brooklyn is possibly going to get swept, and I don't think that's a mark on Brooklyn as a whole. I think it's just Brooklyn's a very young team. I don't really think there's any star talent on that, and that might be the difference because you have an MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. Obviously, you still have James Harden on Philadelphia, so it just makes things more complicated. If Brooklyn does manage to take one, good for them. I do not see them going past 5 games at the most, though. With the Phoenix, I think everyone was very surprised that Phoenix dropped that first game. That actually might have been another one of the surprising moments. But then all of a sudden, Phoenix looks like what you expect, especially on offense, with a Kevin Durant and Devin Booker combined offense led by Chris Paul facility. Um, Milwaukee dropping that first game to Miami wasn't actually as surprising because Miami's got that dog in them. They got Jimmy Butler, who's going to do everything in their power to carry that team. Very surprised that Miami won the first game and then lost the second game where Milwaukee didn't have Giannis. Kind of similar to the LA Memphis series. Was very surprised to see the Lakers not take 2 games after Ja Morant went out. But there seems to be a running theme of when big members of a team go out, the team responds in kind. That happened with a bunch of injuries. I know Miami is also dealing with some injuries. They lost Tyler Harrow, but in the end, it's just interesting how injuries are causing teams to respond, or losses are causing teams to respond. The Warriors were the same yesterday when, not yesterday, the day before, whatever day that was, Thursday. It was Thursday. The Warriors responded in kind with Draymond's suspension, and they came out looking like the team that I think people expected the Warriors to be. They won by 20 points plus, so and they were pretty much in control from a good portion of the game. New York Knicks are up 2-1. The Knicks look great. Cleveland struggled. I know Darius Garland's probably gonna take a lot of heat from that. He'll probably accept a lot of that when you shoots like 5-21, 6-21, something like that. You're gonna get flamed, especially when you're kind of like the de facto ball handler outside of Donovan Mitchell. I do expect New York to win based off. I think the team is a little better constructed than Cleveland right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if that went to 7. I still got Warriors in 6, but a Warriors in 7 win against Sac seems more likely. The Warriors are gonna need to protect home court and steal one to make it happen. If they win the next 2 games, I think Warriors in 6 is still possible. But I do not want to see them go down 3-2. I would much rather them go up 3-2. And then, game 6 Clay against the Kings. Would love that. Kind of touched on Boston, Atlanta. Surprised Boston's not sweeping. I want to call that loss to Atlanta somewhat flukish. Not to disrespect Atlanta, but Boston shouldn't be struggling against them at all. Denver, Minnesota, going how it should be going, in my opinion. Even in last night's game, Minnesota did have times to tie it, make it close, but Denver continued to play like a number 1 seed with all of its talent coming together at the right time. Jokic is 2-time back-to-back MVP, possibly looking at a third, maybe. You have Bubble Murray coming into effect now that he's healthy. Michael Porter's looking good. And, Aaron Gordon looks solid. They're scoring when they need to. They're not disrupting the offense, just trying to look for their own shots. Denver's that group of 4 right now. They look good. They look cohesive. Denver, in my opinion, looks to be really good. I don't know if they'd make it out of the West, and this is speaking objectively, not just as a Warriors fan. That I really don't know who's going to make it out of the West, because I don't believe in Denver, depending on what team they may end up facing. I think a Denver Suns matchup would be really fascinating to watch. But I do wonder about Denver's ability, because they've failed to get, past that point, past the hump to, get to the promised land. So we'll see what happens with that. A little bit more time talking about the Warriors. They finally look good. Even my fiance was like, wow, they really do suck away and then are good at home. And it's really fucking frustrating as a fan. That's what this entire season has been, and it hasn't looked any different. What sucks is game 1, I think, is one that we should have stolen. We lost by 3, and I believe that was a game that was ours for the taking, that, our road inabilities resurfaced and lost. In, obviously, the second game, there was a lot going on there. But we still had opportunities. I do think losing Draymond was hard. I want to say this is going to be a very interesting rest of the season and off season. I think mostly surrounding Draymond. His effectiveness has really been in the decline, and I think this year's been a big example of that. Not to saying he still can't be effective and he still can't be a force, especially on the defensive end, but his decision making has been sloppy at times, and obviously his hot headedness and temper are only doing him a disservice. It's really unfortunate. Regardless of whether or not you want to take that into account, it's always going to be there, especially his playoff history is always going to be there. And, that's why he got that suspension. I didn't think it was warranted because he wasn't the instigator in that sense. It was DeMontis Sabonis. That guy was definitely the instigator. I believe Shaq said it. It wouldn't have happened if Sabonis didn't grab. There was no need to grab at all. They were behind the play. Just yeah, I believe Shaq said it on TNT. Well, I mean, I mean, obviously Draymond didn't need to stomp, but at the same time, you're like, kind of like, well, he's grabbing me. My foot's gonna go down. It did maybe look a bit intentional, but it's also like, well, don't grab me. I mean, I don't know. I just, it's not. It also isn't a basketball play to grab someone's leg. Like that. That definitely isn't a basketball play. Um, Despite that, the Warriors ended up tying it not long after, but then obviously they ended up losing. Um, I'm hoping to see more of that fire and confidence that the Warriors played at home the rest of the series, which means including the games on the road because they are going to need that. And it's surprising enough because the Warriors also had to play without Gary Payton, but these are the performances that we really got to see the Warriors that we are accustomed to seeing, especially from the vets. You saw playoff Looney grab 20 rebounds. You saw playoff Steph. Clay's shot still wasn't there as much as we want it to be, but I always think with Clay, it's just a matter of time. My biggest knock on Clay is that it's not always consistent with game to game how his performances are, specifically his shooting. Wiggins is, in my opinion, still so underrated, especially the fact that like he's coming off 2 months without playing, going straight into playoff basketball, and in my opinion, he's only getting better. He's only getting more effective on both ends. His offense is actually very sharp, in my opinion, for someone who hasn't played NBA pace basketball for 2 months. And Jordan Poole, I would still like to see his shot and decision making get better. I think it's all coming, in my opinion, from the swag. I don't see the same swagger and confidence that he had last year, and I'm hoping he rediscovers that. Anyways, there's a lot of positivity, but I can't feel confident unless the Warriors protect home court and, they go back to sack 2-2. I won't feel confident. I think that was it on that side of things for the playoffs, if I remember correctly. I can't remember off the top of my head if I. Yeah, I don't think I had anything else on that. So last weekend we went to the Japantown Cherry Blossom Festival for Sunday. I believe it was the second weekend, which is the last weekend, so it would have been the last day. We got there at like 11ish, and then I want to say we were there for like 2 hours or so. It was pretty crazy. I don't know exactly what time they started on the day, but I know like the festivities of entertainment, the parade, and all that started around 1, and I think that's when it got really crowded. So that's when we decided to leave. Because for us, the reason we go to the Cherry Blossom Festival is for the food, and specifically, it's usually the food stalls. Like our typical go-to, we'll get some fried mochi from the Shave Ice stand, um, Terry burgers, takoyaki. Unfortunately, it's not actually takoyaki. They call it sokoyaki. Instead of the taco, which is the octopus, they put like beef, I think, which is good, but it's not the same. But we always end up getting it. And that's what we did this year. I also got some sakura popcorn, and while I was in line, like we did a good job divide and conquering because it was the four of us. Um, One of us would get in line, and the others would like go around. I think this year though was probably the least we ate overall. Yeah, places were selling out of stuff even at like 11. Um, the couple that we were with were in line for sukiyaki bowls, and while they were in line, they sold out, and it wasn't even noon yet, which was really crazy. Um, we did well. I was in line for Terry Burgers for the four of us. The rest of the group went to look for onigiri, which they did find. But yeah, so that's basically what we do. It's always a good time, just because we love the food, and I love supporting Japantown. But it's always interesting because like last year we went out and we actually missed it. By the time we got there, like all the food stalls were closing and they were kind of cleaning up for the day. So we ended up getting dinner, but we kind of got a better glimpse of how like harsh it is on the workers in Japantown during the Cherry Blossom Festival because they're not used to, excuse me, they're not used to dealing with that kind of traffic and amount of service needed. So if you ever are in San Francisco and you go to Japantown when it's not the Cherry Blossom Festival, even if it's a weekend, it's not busy. It is absolutely not crazy, because people generally only go to Japantown for the Cherry Blossom Festival. Otherwise, you might get some tourists and visitors out to Japantown during weekdays and weekends, outside of the festival, but it's never crazy. It's not hard to find parking. The walkways, the streets, the shops aren't that busy. The restaurants aren't like, oh, it's going to take us forever to seat you or serve you. It's not. It's never like that. Japantown is relatively small. It is, well, like the little shopping commercial area is the Peace Plaza. I know, right? I'm dying. The Peace Plaza, I believe is what it's called, is not that big. It's like one city block. Not even a full city block, but it's like one little block of like shopping and restaurants. And yeah, it's a nice actual like little place to stop by and check out, but it's not long. It doesn't take a lot of time during the off season of the Cherry Blossom when there's no festival or anything happening like that. You can probably get through Japantown in like 30 minutes if you're like just wandering around looking at what they have to offer for shops and snacks and foods and restaurants. And I think that's part of the reason why, with the pandemic, there was a lot of worry and buzz that Japantown might actually shut down because there's just no income generating for the businesses in the area. Luckily, I haven't heard any more news about that, so I'm hoping everything is fine. Obviously, the Cherry Blossom Festival is a huge hit, a lot of money being generated, but it also causes a lot of stress. Like, these people aren't used to having to handle all of that, and it's just 2 weekend dates where they're dealing with hundreds, probably thousands of people needing help and service. Because one time last year we ended up being late, so we went to a restaurant. I can't remember the name, but it was delicious. We loved it. We had a great time. We got drinks. The food was delicious. But like when we first got there, and we just said like hi to our waiter, like, "Hey, how's it going?" They were straight up like, "It to like today's been rough," or something along the lines of just like, "Yeah, today sucks." And if you ever worked in like some sort of service industry, which me and my fiance have, we understand immediately what that means and what that is like. It is hard to be a customer facing employee because a lot of the times your customers just do not understand the realities of what that means and the kind of stressors you go through. But anyways, like we were empathetic towards that, and we just went about our normal business as customers of an establishment. We're just normal people. We're not dicks or anything, but we're not overly nice. We're just people. We're just normal people who treat human beings like human beings. But it was like just crazy to think like, wow, like your day sucked so hard, probably just because you were dealing with so much like such an influx of people you had to help, and you're probably also dealing with people who have never been to Japantown and are probably just being dicks because you're like, why is it so busy? Why are you guys so slow? Why is it so inefficient? Whatever. And it's like, well, because Japantown's never like this. We're not equipped to deal with thousands of people like Disneyland. We're a fucking tiny ass small like local small business establishments that maybe deal with like 100 or so people a day rather than like thousands. But anyways, yeah, don't be a dick. Cherry Blossom Festival, go support it, but don't be a dick next year when it comes back. But it's always a lot of fun. We always have a good time. We always get what we want with food, and then we leave. Sometimes we'll try to go inside, but usually inside's always a madhouse. Like it's like you're claustrophobic. You're bumped shoulder to shoulder with people. But inside is generally where all the vendors are in terms of like artists and like if you're doing like shopping for those kinds of things. If you're looking for food, it's mostly outside. For the pop-ups, if you're looking for like shopping, that's mostly inside. But it's always a good time, and there is, but I think most of the popular stands are outside. It's like this food inside is some stands, and then just like the restaurants that are always there, who might be doing stuff. Let's see, what else do I have on the list? Ann and I recently spent one night at the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco, and it was really fucking cool. It was nice. We're considering that for our hotel block, maybe, possibly. It was a cool hotel. I actually really liked the vibe in there. Kind of gave off like a weird, like, futuristic spaceship vibe on the inside if you've ever been. Bed was comfortable. Kind of modern on the rooms feel more modern than the actual hotel at times. But you liked it, right? Yeah, I liked it. Their hotel bar was nice. Or the lobby bar, the lounge area was really nice. It's really spacious. Definitely would stay there again. But yeah, we gotta inquire about hotels. Goddamn. So we're getting married in like 4 months. Jeez. Yeah. Another cool thing is we went to Rue SF. Was it a progressive Indian? Yeah, we still don't know what the progressive part means. But yeah, we tried Rue SF and the food was delicious, but it was a really fun experience. Funny too because we were sitting outside and it was cold as all hell. There was like two groups sitting outside. We were one of them. And we found out like they couldn't have heaters because their outside patio area has a roof, and the fire department doesn't allow you to have space heaters if you have a roof over the outside area. So we were freezing. We were freezing so much that we all had hot water in teacups. But what was really nice is like towards the end of the night, they did allow us to move back in once a big party had left. All the outside groups moved in, and that's when the night really changed. But the food was delicious. We got a lot of food. We did a lot of sharing plates. So we ordered like two of everything to accommodate, I think, like 9 of us. But I really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of butter chicken and naan bread. I don't think there was anything we ate that I didn't like. They had scotched eggs, which was good. We got oysters. The oysters were hella good. What else did we get? We got butter chicken. We got the we got the scotch egg. Octopus? Did we get octopus? No. Monkfish. No, we got monkfish, right? Fish? No, maybe we got some sort of fish. That was good. Yeah, everything was good. The drinks were also really good. I can't remember the drinks that's gonna segue into like the next thing. Sugar hangovers. Every drink I got was a bit on the sugary side. But they just sounded good. So I had like 2 sugary drinks at the Rue, and at the hotel lobby bar at the Regency, I had another sugary drink. I didn't really know it was gonna be that sugary, but like I woke up like with a sugar hangover, and I was pretty fucking annoyed about that because that took a while for me to get over it. And if you didn't know, as you get older, I believe it is the moment you've officially turned 30, you can no longer process sugary beverages as well as you used to, which is why as much as I love darks, I don't drink darks that much anymore because of the amount of sugar in them usually. I drink a lot of tequila now. I am mostly drinking tequila. And I don't really know if there's less sugar, but I definitely don't get sugar headaches from just drinking straight up tequila or even tequila based cocktails. But yeah, I was pretty. I had a fucking sugar hangover for like a good half of the day. I think until we officially started eating at the Japantown Cherry Blossom Festival is when it went out of my way. And I really miss that like 20-year-old metabolism of just being able to eat and drink whatever you want and usually be fine. I was really good about that for a while. Definitely noticed, I think around like 27, 28, it's starting to slow down and get worse. But in my 30s, yeah, it is. I'm not doing great with that. Without prepping myself to like better handle it with like, electrolyte beverages or lots of water and things like that. Because when you're younger, you don't need to do any of that prep and like work. And when you're older, you need to prep. You need to make that effort. Otherwise, you're in for a bad morning. Let's see. Let's go into my tattoo. So my tattoo's been officially recovering for 2 weeks. I've been without the wrap for like a week and a half ish, like 9 days. I don't know, but yeah, I think 9 days. But this thing is itchy as all hell at times, and Anna can attest. There are moments where I just start yelling, "Oh my god, it's so fucking itchy! I want to cut my damn leg off." Right now, it's good, and I started to realize that one, I might have been washing it wrong, and two, work, because I have to wear pants at work. I think my pants are really fucking irritating because when I wear shorts and I'm not wearing pants, my tattoo is far less irritated. Obviously, that makes so much sense. But holy crap, that itching is no joke. Also, the way my tattoo feels is really interesting because it's so raised. Like it's so raised that when I do wear pants, I can feel the raised bumps of my tattoo through the pants, which is weird. I don't think there's any issue with it. Like I'm not in pain. It's just itchy, and I know itchiness is part of the healing process, anyways. But I wish I could wear shorts at work. Also, my tattoo is pretty massive since it wraps around my calf. So it just sucks that my leg is itchy a lot. Like 80%. Oh, there it is. It's itchy right now because I touched it. Fuck. My wonderful fiance, though, has been gracious enough to help scratch the areas around the tattoo that are not tattoo. I thought no, the areas around the tattoo. Yeah. She's been gracious enough to do that for me. She's a wonderful person. I'm going to wife that up soon. In 4 months. Fuck. Lastly, Lilo and Stitch. That's been a big thing. The casting. A lot of people have issues with castings. There's been talks about whitewashing casting or, not enough dark skin casting to better represent the culture and the original film. Because in the original film, there's like 2 white people and they're like blatantly supposed to be like light skinned. Everyone else is dark. They're native Hawaiians probably, and they're dark, like Nani, like Lilo. Those are dark people. The Bubbles, right? Agent Bubbles or whatever. Bubbles. He's black, but even he isn't that much darker than like Nani and Lilo and David when you think about it. So I don't really have any problems with the casting in the sense of, if they are true Hawaiian borns, like, and they're right for the role, we shouldn't complain. But I do get the idea of wanting the representation to actually look like the real people and the characters. So, asking for darker skinned people doesn't sound wrong. But at the same time, like, what if they do a really good job? If they are actually part of the culture, part of the people, should their skin color really match? Because then it's like attacking is like, well, you're not dark enough. Then aren't you also shaming them for being like, well, that's just how they look? Like, it's not their fault they're not dark enough, but what if they're also Hawaiian and they want to be part of this Hawaiian story, you know? Then I don't see a problem. But, everyone's going to have an opinion on it, and that's just mine. Um, I know that they recasted David, and I think it had something to do with, like, yep, racist social media posts, whatever. The new guy is a lot darker, it looks like. So, yay, you won that battle, and of good reason. And now, but, like, I still believe they want to still recast Nani because she's, too light. I mean, I'm thinking is if she's Hawaiian, but she's lighter skinned, I think it's fine. I mean, once again, if you're actually part of the cultural, being respectful of that in the sense of why you cast them, just because their skin color isn't exactly what you want, I think that's going too far. All right, Coachella. Coachella happened. People went to Coachella and people came back from Coachella, and I think Coachella's second weekend is right now. Um, yeah, Coachella's never been something that I was like ever crazy about, and like as the years go by, continue to still be like, I just don't really think I would ever be a Coachella person. Who knows? That could change one day, but it just doesn't, like, as I get older, it does not seem like something I want to do in terms of like, yeah, I want to camp out. I want to drive to the desert. I want to pay all that money. Because Coachella's expensive, even for the people who are trying to do it as most affordable as possible. From what I hear, Coachella, I mean, you make the most of your experience, right? But I feel like the experience most people want would be like the VIP kind of influencer experience of Coachella. Because that looks comfortable, fun, and comfortable, and somewhat lavish. I know the big thing people have talked about. I mean, I streamed some of it at work when I could. I thought the coolest things were, Blink-182 coming back together, and the Gorilla set. A lot of other things people liked. Obviously, Blackpink was a big one. But obviously, the one that made the most headlines was Frank Ocean, who I believe is not going to be there this weekend. And everyone's wondering if it was like his decision, if it was Coachella's decision. Who knows? But it's probably for the best. He got injured? Really? Jesus. Oh. Ugh. Man, I stopped following Coachella because I forgot that there was another weekend. All right. Let's see. Coachella, Frank Ocean. Uh, Frank Ocean pulls out of second weekend. Ugh, god damn it. Ad blocker, whatever. Okay. It's not loading. Well, fuck. Well, obviously there were people who were upset because of Frank Ocean's disastrous first set, but I don't know. I love Frank Ocean as an artist. I don't know anything about him as a in-person performer because I've never been there outside of what's been said. Something about an ice rink was part of the whole Frank Ocean set. I know he performed for like half an hour, was an hour late. Oh, he did have an ankle injury as part of things. Dang, that's troublesome. And like I said, I like Frank Ocean, but like, just given how things have gone for him as a performer, live performances wise, it is concerning. It's gotta suck for people who waited for him, who have gone specifically for Frank Ocean for Coachella, to get that experience. And you have to assume and hope the best. Like, maybe that's also not what Frank wanted from that performance. But as people who spend the money, who make the effort, especially when it's so much more difficult for certain people to have those experiences of like going to Coachella and being there to watch your favorite artist, you can't help but be a little bit more, pissed off or disappointed and upset when you're like, wow, I did not get my money's worth from that one particular experience I wanted to get. It is what it is, though. I mean, all the best to Frank Ocean. I hope he continues to be involved in the music game because I love what his work is. His music is something I could put on repeat without having to stop or change without question. So all the best, but yeah, that's gotta suck. I mean, also if he's injured, I completely understand. But last time he just sat down, so if you just sit down again, I don't think your ankle's gonna have much of a problem. But what do I know? I've only destroyed both of my knees and ankles multiple times throughout my 30 years of life, 31 years of life. But I know when I sit down, my ankles don't hurt. But who am I to say? Anyways, though, Coachella as a whole seemed like a rousing success in terms of performances overall. But I know a lot of people's sets went late. I know Coachella got fined a lot of money from the first weekend because they had that, I think, 1 o'clock hard stop curfew, and that was not adhered to because of so many delays and late performances. But anyways, just take care of yourself, have fun, do what you do. Like, if Coachella's for you, make the most of it, dude. Have those experiences. I have some friends who went to Coachella and looked like they had a fucking blast, and like, good for them. It's just, I don't think that's for me. Not at my advanced age of 31, and my now dwindling social battery, which is crazy because between me and my fiance, I'm the social butterfly. But like, I just do not have that capacity anymore. I've started to realize that more recently in the last years, that like I do have I never thought I had a social battery. I absolutely have one now. And maybe like my social battery's life cycle starting to show itself, and that's what's happening. But I used to just be able to go, and now like I literally am like, fuck, can I actually handle some solid social interaction? Like, I gotta prep myself now. I gotta prep and evaluate before I commit to things, because I don't know if I can actually handle it anymore, and that is surprising for me. But I like that awareness. Anyways, that's pretty much all I could think of at the moment that I have. I really thought I'd have more, but it was a busy week at work, so I was kind of out of it. Oh, Giants baseball fucking suck, dude. I don't know what's happening right now because I mean, it in general, baseball is kind of weird in our division, but yeah, we're playing like complete crap, real ass right now. It's very fucking frustrating to watch. I'm not happy about it. I wish I wish we made more of a splash in the offseason. We lost some really big free agent signings that I think would help because the offenses look shitty, but also our pitching hasn't looked great. Logan Webb continues to frustrate and disappoint, but right now everybody on the pitching group just looks awful. Just does not look great. We're getting blitzed by the Mets. Just overall, it's just been really frustrating. And that's all I really have to say. I hope they figure it out. I hope they're willing to lose some people. Logan Webb is going to need to start playing up to that contract, but right now, it is very tough to be a Giants fan. Oh, and that brings up Oakland. Yeah, the A's. My fiance's an A's fan. She's going to convert to being a Giants fan because the A's are moving to Vegas, and you're just not going to support that. Yeah, but you're not really going to be an A's fan. They're going to Vegas. They're abandoning you guys. Honestly, though, real talk, it's hard to say who's really at fault between the city of Oakland and the A's organization. One, though, the A's organization sucks. Like, whoever is running this shit doesn't know how to fucking run it. The team's been on the decline, but also in the way they've managed their organization, especially in like how they run the Coliseum and games and stuff, they've just been on the decline for a while. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I want to blame them more than the city of Oakland because I refuse to believe that the city of Oakland is happy now. Is now happy having no sports teams because the Warriors moved, the Raiders left, and now they're about to lose their baseball team in either next season or in the next 4 seasons. So it's kind of like you got no sports. You have the Oakland Roots. That's it. Other than that, there is no major sports teams in Oakland anymore. That's a huge hit to tourism and economy because tourists could come out here and be like, "Oh, let's go catch a game." I mean, not really. Mostly it would be like a Warriors game or something, I guess. But now there's like no sports to watch on the major fronts of things. Like there's nothing. You know how much revenue and money you could lose from that? Lots. I mean, obviously, Oakland Coliseum still does like events and shows and things like that, but like that's gonna be it. That doesn't seem profitable in the long run. I refuse to believe Oakland doesn't want sports teams. There's no way that's true. But the A's, maybe this is a better move for them in the long run. They're going to get a state of the art system. They rejoin the Raiders in Vegas, and then obviously Vegas is going to love having another professional sports team. The one thing that they're going to be missing now is an NBA team, and who knows if they're going to expand or move one over. But either way, sad days for Oakland sports fans at least. And then yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap that up. I can't think of anything else. All right. Well, later all. Yeah, I'm done.